Right, good day everyone. Moving on to Surah 73, right? And the book says, remember the name of the Lord, meaning God, meaning Allah. Right? Remember Allah's name and devote yourself to Allah with complete devotion. Right? Allah is God of the east and west, right? North and south as well might I add. Right? East, west, north and south. There's no deity except Allah. There's no God except Allah, right? And allow him to be the disposer of your affairs, right? I mean, to dissolve that which needs to be dissolved, right? Um, so the book says with Allah is food that chokes and a painful punishment for those who do wrong, right? Um, Food that chokes, right? This doesn't mean actually anything literally, although that is what literally had happened to me whilst I was reading the Quran, right? Whilst I was for the first set of times I was reading it, choked on some cake and stuff, right? So it is all going back to say that we must be cautious about that which we consume, right? Be cautious about the things that you consume, right? So it simply means that most of the time when we eat, right, we have to ask yourself, are you really hungry when you eat, right? The times when you eat, when you put something into your stomach, are you really hungry, or is it that, oh, is 7 o'clock, I have to get something to eat, it's 12 o'clock, I have to eat, is 4 o'clock, I have to eat, it's 8 o'clock in the night, I have to eat, and you eat based on time alone and not based on when you actually your food your stomach actually calls for something, right? Because a lot of time we eat, right, when we are bored, like out of boredom. And I'm not even talking about a fixed schedule, I'm talking about eating in between that too. A lot of snacks, a lot of additional items that we put into our stomach simply because what? Not because we're hungry, right? But because we're bored, right? And right. So a lot of times we eat because of boredom and because of we want something to do, right? We want something to do, right? And there is nothing better to do than eat, right? So it is just a word, right? It's just a word that these things might have detrimental effects on you in the long run, right? It may not, but it is a notification that there might be consequences to things like that. And these things are common sense things, right? It's not a religious thing, it's not a scientific thing, it's not a big deal. It's a common sense reminder, right? And a lot of things in the Quran is actually common sense reminders, right? For those who reason, those who have taught, right? It's a common sense reminders, right? Um, so the book is saying to recite that which is easy of you in the Quran, meaning that when you read the Quran, you may not necessarily understand or grasp or be able to interpret every single thing that's written, right? At least not as once, right? That's why people keep going back to the book, right? Because every time you read it, you get a different interpretation of something, probably based on your experience, probably based on a revelation or something like that, right? So the book is saying to recite that which is easy of you of the Quran, right? The Quran, and it says prior in the book that the Quran has been made easy upon your tongue, right? Meaning that it's not necessary that you go only out of interest, really, that you go to seek further knowledge based on go trace back into Arabic and all that. But remember, the Quran, when the revelation took place, right, it takes place in a particular geographic location based on, and language based on who Allah chooses to reveal this information to. So sometimes it has nothing to do with language, right, but it has to do everything with your heart and your heart space, right? So these things at the end of the day, like I say, they are all the knowledge that we have in the world, right? It would come a day when you will realize that all the knowledge you have accumulated or have you spent a lot of time accumulating, it really, I don't want to say it doesn't make sense, but at the end of the day, it boils down to what is in your heart space, right? Because I don't want to be discrediting all the research and work that people have done throughout their lives, right? I'm just saying that there will come a time when people will realize that nothing will matter in this world except the things that is in your heart, right? Good. Um, so recite what is easy of you, of the Quran, right? Allah has known that there will be among you those who are ill, others who are traveling throughout the land and earth, seeking Allah, right? Seeking something of Allah, right? And others fighting in the cause of Allah. So recite what is easy from it. Establish prayer and give zakah, meaning give charity, right? And if you are in a position to do so, this should be, if you're in a financial position to do so, this should be a lifestyle for you, right? Going forward in time, right? Meaning that the Quran, right? Once you come in contact with this message, and especially if you're deeply engaged with it, it should be a way of life, meaning a giving, a selfless service in whatever form that you are able to at the time to do it, to do this, right? Um, so whatever is you put forward for yourself, you will find it with Allah, right? It is better and greater in reward, and seek forgiveness from Him, and Allah is forgiving and merciful, right? So God's will, and move on to Surah 74 tomorrow.